Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. So today we will present about our discuss about English language tests as educational policy instruments in UNESA policymakers perspective. Before that, we will introduce ourselves. Begin from me, Cesar Ferwitanaya with ID number 138.
And then me, Farina Indosari, with student number 021.
And me, Rana Aidiani, with student number 223.
Okay, let's move in this first slide. Understanding the policy. So, as UNESA policymaker, we set TEP score of 525 as a graduation requirement to ensure that all English language education students achieve a standardized and competitive level of English proficiency. This score represents an upper intermediate level that is appropriate for future English teachers who are expected to use English accurately and confidently in professional settings. By establishing this minimum standard, the university ensures that graduates meet a clear benchmark of language competence before entering the workforce. This policy also addresses the issue of inconsistent English ability among graduates. Without clear requirement, students might complete their study with varying level of proficiency, which could affect the quality of education they provide in the future. Therefore, the TEP requirement function not only as a tool to measure proficiency, but also as a quality control mechanism that maintains academic standard and strengthens State University of Surabaya institutional reputation.
Okay. From the perspective of UNESA policymakers, setting a minimum TEP score of 525 as a graduation requirement brings several important benefits, especially for students in the English language education. Uh, Since they are preparing to become future English teachers, they need to show a strong and standardized level of English proficiency. This policy ensures that students do not only finish their course, but also have enough language competence to teach effectively. It also helps maintain the quality of the program and strengthens the university academic reputations. And we are also aware of some challenges. The minimum score requirement can create pressure and anxiety, particularly for students who can completed all their course but still struggle to reach 525. Moreover, relying on one standardized test like the TEP may not fully represent all aspects of language ability, such as spontaneous speaking, classroom communications, and teaching skills. There is also a risk that students focus more on test preparations instead of developing real communicative competence. Next. And in terms of influence, this policy clearly affect behavior. Students become more serious about preparing for the TEP and more focused on achieving the required score. Lectures may also adjust their teaching methods to support students in reaching that target. From an administrative perspective, the university needs to provide testing facilities and preparations programs. Therefore, the TEP functions not only as a tool to measure proficiency, but also as a policy instrument that shapes teaching, learning, and academic standards in the English language education program.
So, next is part C, is critical reflection. For the first question, first, regarding fairness, the policy is considered relatively fair because it applies the same standardized benchmark to all students. However, policymakers also recognize that a single test score cannot fully represent students' overall English ability, especially practical and communicative skills used in a real academic or professional context. And then, for the second question, although the TEP is designed as a measurement of English proficiency, in practice it functions more as a tool for regulating academic standards. By linking the score to graduation eligibility, the university used the test to maintain the quality of its graduates, not only to assess language skills. And then for the last question, the TEP becomes a policy instrument when it determines graduation eligibility, influences curriculum and teaching priorities, and shapes students' learning behavior and preparation strategies. At this stage, the TEP operates as a de facto language policy within the institution. Next. So the last part is conclusion. To sum it, the TEP graduation requirement functions not only as an assessment tool, but also as a policy instrument that regulates academic standards at UNESA. While it helps maintain graduate quality, it also has limitations in fully representing students' English ability. Therefore, from the policymaker's perspective, continuous evaluation is important to ensure both quality assurance and fairness.
So that's all for our presentation. Thank you.